Hello everyone, I am Heather and I want to thank you for joining me for this video today on my channel, Heather Travels. It is winter in Wisconsin and it's gray and gloomy and cold. And so I want to talk about something someplace warm and fun. And so today's video is going to be about Walt Disney World Resort hotels. Okay, there's a lot of information out there. I'm just going to kind of give you my opinions. And so that maybe if you have a family similar to mine with kids maybe the ages of mine, or you have the same interests as me, this might help you decide where you want to stay on your Walt Disney World vacation. I do strongly recommend staying on site at Walt Disney World because if you fly there like we do, we have to fly from Wisconsin, obviously we fly from Minneapolis, and then you use the free Magical Express from the airport. You really don't need to leave Walt Disney World property at all. You can use the internal Walt Disney World transportation at no extra cost. And then you don't have to mess with paying for a rental car, paying for gas, paying for parking, because now even, it used to be free to park at Walt Disney World resorts for resort guests, but now they do charge, and it's kind of pricey. It's like 19, 20 some bucks a night. So, and then there's also parking at the parks too. You don't have to pay to park at the theme parks if you are a resort guest, so go figure. It is still free to park at Disney Springs, but some people think that they can park at Disney Springs and get to a theme park, but you really can't. You can't take a bus, a Disney bus from Disney Springs to the theme parks. You can only take them to the resorts. So unless you're going to park at Disney Springs, take a bus to a resort and then take another bus or some other form of transportation to the theme park, that's kind of a very roundabout way to get there. So anyway, I strongly recommend staying on site. I know there are people that when they go on vacation to Florida, they do other stuff too. To me, that's just a whole nother trip. Like if you're going to go to Universal, or you're going to do other things in Orlando, or you're going to go to Tampa or whatever, that's too much to try to do. There is so much to do at Disney World that I still can't get everything in I want to do. And the last trip we took was the longest we ever took, and we still didn't get to do everything we wanted to do. So I really feel like if you're going to go to Disney World, just do Disney World. And if you're going to do other stuff, make that a different time. That's my opinion. And I like the ease of not having to worry about driving and finding things and, you know, all that. I like just kind of getting taken care of and not having to worry about getting where I need to go. So with that in mind, let's talk about the resort hotels. There are a lot of them. There are basically 4 categories of resort hotels at Walt Disney World. Value resorts, which include the All-Star Resorts, All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, and All-Star Sports. Art of Animation, which although it's considered a value resort, is not really price-wise in the value category. Art of Animation usually costs more per night than the next category up, which is the moderate resorts. So I don't really know why they put that in the value category. The Little Mermaid rooms, which are just 2 full beds, not queens, fulls, sometimes are less expensive than the moderate resorts, but they almost always sell out and they never have discounts. So yeah. And then Pop Century. Pop Century and Art of Animation are right across Hourglass Lake from each other, across a little bridge, and the other 3 are clumped together. Then in the moderate category, you have Coronado Springs, Caribbean Beach Resort, Port Orleans French Quarter, and Port Orleans Riverside, which are very close together. They're within walking distance of each other along the Sassagoula River, and they used to be one resort called Dixie Landings, but they were separated a while back. And then the cabins at Fort Wilderness Campground are also considered in the moderate category. However, I kind of feel like that's a whole different thing. Camping is not my thing at all. And I feel like Fort Wilderness is kind of a world unto its own. There's some really cool things about Fort Wilderness, but I don't know that I would ever want to stay in one of the cabins. But I mean, for families, it can be a really cool economical option because it gives you some more space and a kitchen and things like that. Okay, and then, in the value and moderate categories, those resorts tend to be quite large with a lot of rooms, okay? So they have a pretty good capacity. The deluxe resorts and the DVC resorts, which is Disney Vacation Club, which is like Disney's timeshare program, there's more of them in number, but they are smaller. They have less rooms than the moderates or the values. So, and they're much more expensive. I mean, we're talking in the $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 a night range is what you're looking at for deluxes and DVCs. The moderates you can find sometimes below $200 a night, and usually around the $200, $250. The values you can find for as low as like $140 a night, you know, around there, $160, something in that range. Okay, the deluxes include, let me see if I can think of them all. In the Magic Kingdom area, around Bay Lake, are the original 3, which even those, they weren't all built at the same time. The Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, the Contemporary, and then just a little off of that, but still on the lake, or it might be on Seven Seas Lagoon, and I think that, yeah, the water there, but is Wilderness Resort. And then in the Epcot area, Epcot Hollywood Studios area with the lake in between and the boardwalk, it's the Boardwalk Resort, Yacht Club, Beach Club. And then the Swan and Dolphin are over there too, but those are not owned by Disney. But there are some advantages to staying at those too. You can't use your Magic Bands there, and you can't use the Disney dining plan there, and they don't have the Magical Express free transportation to the airport, but you can use the boat transportation, and they do have character meals. And they are a little less expensive than the deluxe resorts, so it's kind of like staying at a deluxe resort without paying deluxe prices. And then you also have, am I forgetting something? For deluxe, oh, Animal Kingdom Lodge over at Animal Kingdom. And then the DVCs I'm not as familiar with, but they're all associated with one of the other deluxe resorts at this point. They are building the Grand Destino Tower. Is that a DVC or is that just more rooms? I think that might just be more rooms for Coronado Springs. They're building the Riviera Resort near Caribbean Beach. They actually took down part of Caribbean Beach's buildings and are building the Riviera Resort there. That is a DVC resort. And then they're building Reflections on the former, the water park that has been closed and rotting in plain sight for years and years near Wilderness and Fort Wilderness. They're building the Reflections Resort there. That is going to be a DVC resort. Okay. To be honest, I mean, if you watch my videos, you can see all about all my Disney trips. I'll put it up there. I have lots of stuff about Disney World. And some of in my favorite trips playlist, there's some of my stories of different times we stayed at Disney World. I've been to Disney World Resort in Florida 6 times, and we stayed on site 3 of them. So we stayed on site 3 of them, and we stayed off site for 3 of them. I much prefer to stay on site. Although one of my favorite trips that's in my favorite trips list, we did stay off site and still had a great time. So it depends. But anyway, I do recommend staying on site, and I prefer to stay on site. So the 3 resorts I have stayed at were Yacht Club, which is the only deluxe resort I've stayed at, Port Orleans Riverside in the Alligator Bayou section, and Caribbean Beach Resort. I've stayed at those 3. So I've stayed at 2 of the moderates and 1 of the deluxe resorts. I've never stayed at a value resort. I have visited, I think, every deluxe resort. So I have been inside the lobby, or I've eaten a meal at one of the restaurants, or just gone and checked it out, or whatever. And also, because we were at Port Orleans Riverside, they sometimes share their buses to the theme parks, and so we've actually been outside of Port Orleans French Quarter, but we didn't go into the lobby or anything. And I've never actually physically been to any of the value resorts, so I can't really give you much of an opinion on those other than what I've read and seen in other places. But here's what I want to do for you. I'm kind of combining a favorites / wish list / recommendations by family member here. Okay, so of those 3 that I've stayed in, Yacht Club, Caribbean Beach, and Port Orleans Riverside, I liked them all very much. I have no complaints. They were all wonderfully themed. I had very positive experiences at all 3. I could recommend all 3 to you without hesitation. If I had to pick a favorite, I would pick Yacht Club. just because we had an awesome room with a balcony overlooking the lighthouse and the water and up on the top floor, and it was beautiful. And I really like that theming, the nautical New England theming of Yacht Club. That's just kind of my favorite personal thing. So if I had to pick a favorite, I'd pick that one. However, my stay there wasn't necessarily the best of those three because we were all sick and had like laundry and vomiting and issues. You can see that in Vomiting on Vacation. I'll put that up there. But I liked all three equally well. They were all great. I would say Yacht Club and all the deluxes really have kind of an advantage in location, because the deluxes tend to be physically closest to the theme parks. So you're not only paying for a nicer resort hotel, you're paying for proximity. Because, like, for example, at Yacht Club, you can physically walk to Epcot. You could physically walk to Hollywood Studios. It's a little farther. You can take the boats or buses. All of the deluxes are within really close distance by one or more forms of transportation to the theme parks. Animal Kingdom Lodge is very close to Animal Kingdom. Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Boardwalk are all very within walking distance of Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and you can take the boats there. Polynesian, Grand Floridian, and Contemporary are all on the monorail line. You can also walk from the Contemporary to Magic Kingdom. And then you can't take the Wilderness is not on the monorail line, but it's very close to Magic Kingdom, and you can take a boat there or a bus. So all of the deluxe resorts give you, well, except for Animal Kingdom Lodge, give you multiple options on how to get to the closest theme park. So you're paying that extra money for proximity, really, and additional amenities in a nicer place. But okay, so I would really, these are the ones I have not stayed at that I would really like to try. Okay, I would really like to try Pop Century. I would really like to try Art of Animation. I have no interest in staying at any of the other value resorts, the All-Stars, but I might in the future just from a cost reason. Okay, I would really like to stay at Caribbean Beach again, and I would really like to try Port Orleans French Quarter. I think we would really like it. Like I said, I don't really have any interest in trying the cabins at Fort Wilderness, and I have zero interest in trying Coronado Springs. I am just not into that whole Southwest deserty. That's just not my jam. So I don't know. I just have no interest in it at all. I hear it's really nice, but I mean, if you give me a free stay there, I'll stay there, but I'm not going to pick it myself. And then of the deluxes, I would stay at Yacht Club again in a heartbeat if I could afford it. I'd stay at Beach Club too. I also like that one. I really don't particularly care for the theming at Boardwalk, so that's not really on the top of my list. And I really don't care for the Contemporary. I mean, although I think it's cool how the monorail goes through there and stuff, and some of the, and like the proximity and stuff is cool, to me it just looks like a giant concrete block, and I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. So, and honestly, I can't say I'm really that into the Polynesian or Grand Floridian either. I don't know. I would probably stay there if I got like a really good deal, because it'd be really cool to be on the monorail line and be that close to Magic Kingdom and be able to take the monorail to Epcot and stuff. But neither one of them, the theming appeals to me all that much. I would stay at Wilderness. And that's one of the less expensive of the deluxes. My kids aren't keen on staying at Wilderness, though, because they think it's too much like the hotels we have up here. It's supposed to be like national parks, like out west, like at the Grand Canyon in Colorado and stuff. But to them, it just feels like Great Wolf Lodge or, you know, one of these other woodsy, Northwoods themed hotels we have in abundance up here in the northern part of the country. So I see their point. But I still think it would be cool to stay there. I do like that theming, and it's supposedly the prettiest resort at Christmas time. So, okay, now I'm going to tell you for each of the categories, and I'm leaving out DVC because we're not DVC members and never will be, and so there's no point in talking about it. I mean, you can get a room in a DVC resort like you can the other places, but I doubt just from a cost perspective, we're probably never going to do that. It's very unlikely that we'll even stay in a deluxe ever again, unless it was for one night. So they're just too expensive. I'd rather spend money on food and tickets. So, okay. But in the 3 categories of value, moderate, and deluxe, I'm going to tell you for each person in my family which one I believe would be their favorite or their pick. Okay? So this can hopefully help you if you have people in your family like us. Okay? So for me, mom in my 40s, single mom, loves to travel, loves Disney. Okay? In the deluxe category, my favorite is Yacht Club, which I've kind of already said. Okay? I like the nautical theming. I like the location. That one's my favorite. In the moderate category, having not stayed at the one, I'm kind of making a guess, but I really like Caribbean Beach, and I also think I would probably really like Port Orleans French Quarter. New Orleans, if you saw my favorite city Chicago video, I talked about that was another one of my favorite cities, but I decided not to make another one of my favorite cities, but I decided not to make a video out of it because it had been so long since I've been there. But I like that style, and I like, you know, the French influence and all of that. So I think that we would really would like to stay at Port Orleans French Quarter sometime. And so I think that might be a favorite. So it might be a tie between Caribbean Beach and Port Orleans French Quarter for me. And then in the values, I think I would like Pop Century the best, just because of that whole kitschy, cool 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s stuff that they have around there. I would think that was really neat and fun. Okay. Next person in my family is my 22-year-old son, who is a senior in college. In the deluxe category, I don't know what he'd pick. He loved Yacht Club too. But he might go for the contemporary, actually, because of the whole modern rooms and stuff like that. He also might go for the Polynesian because he would like to go to Hawaii, and that's kind of like that. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think he'd just be thrilled to get to stay in a deluxe resort, honestly. For moderates, I think he's going to be the same as me. It would be a toss-up between Caribbean Beach because he really likes that islandy vibe. He likes cruising, and that's kind of got that same feel to it. Or he would like Port Orleans French Quarter. He loves New Orleans too. And French stuff. So for the values, I think he would pick Art of Animation and a Lion King suite. He likes Lion King. That's one of his favorite Disney movies, so that's what I think he would pick there. Okay, my daughter, who is 14 and a freshman in high school, for the deluxes, she might pick like Grand Floridian, maybe, or Beach Club. She might go for one of those. Oh, wait. No, she would pick Animal Kingdom Lodge. She loves animals, so she might pick Animal Kingdom Lodge. That might be her pick. Yeah, for the deluxes. I'll have to have them watch this video and see if they agree with me. For the moderates, I think she would probably also go for Port Orleans French Quarter. She's going to New Orleans in February here, so we'll have to see if she agrees with that after she goes. But I think she would like that one a lot. She liked Port Orleans Riverside a lot, and they're right next to each other. So for the values, I think she would either like All-Star Movies or a Little Mermaid room at Art of Animation. That's what I think she would like. Okay. Then for my 10-year-old son, Ben, for a deluxe resort, I think he might go for Animal Kingdom Lodge too, or he might go for Yacht Club like me, because he likes that whole nautical thing too. For a moderate, I think he would also pick Port Orleans French Quarter. He's had his eye on that one and the pool and the slide there. And I think he would like that one a lot because it's a compact footprint and it's not as much walking, and he doesn't like to have to walk too much. And then for a value, I think he would also pick Art of Animation because he really likes art and drawing. And I think he would choose a Cars suite because he likes cars a lot. So hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of what different age and gender and interest people would like in choosing a Disney World resort, and that you might take that into consideration when you're planning your trip for the future. And I'd love to see your comments below of where you've stayed and what you like and which your favorite resorts are and where you're planning to stay. That would be really cool to hear from you all. So thank you again, guys, for joining me. I hope that you'll subscribe to my channel. I'm really hoping we'll have some more on-site footage from somewhere soon, either February or March. I'm hoping we'll be going somewhere. So thank you guys for hanging in there for all these talking videos. And I really appreciate you sticking with my channel. Safe travels, everyone.